We'd like to welcome Elton Simoes, who is the president of the ADRBC Society, and who is also a mediator and arbitrator and med-arbitrator as well. So thank you for taking some time out of your day today.
Thanks, CD. It's a pleasure being here. This is actually the fourth time that I have the pleasure of coordinating and chairing that conference. And that conference grew a lot, and today is probably the most important or the second most important conference in Canada.
That's great.
So I'm just curious how you see the symposium adding to the landscape for ADR practice in BC.
Well, what the symposium does is exploring several points of view from different people in a very diverse group of people. Then we not only explore different practices, but we explore different uses of ADR. We explore different standards, and we explore based on the opinion on a very diverse opinion of a gender-balanced roster of speakers, and as well within several ethnicities and people with international experience. This year, for instance, we have about 50% male-female. We have people with experience in Germany, South Africa, the African continent. You have myself with experience in Europe, Africa, and North and South America. And you have other people with experience in Asia. Then that makes it for a fantastic diversity of opinion, and the idea of a symposium is to exchange ideas.
Well, that's pretty great. I mean, I think that's largely what's happening here today, so that's fantastic that's what we're going for. There's a lot of talk about the roles of different organizations, especially in some of the panels that we've heard this morning, and how they also interact with government. So what do you see as the role of an organization like ADRBC?
ADRBC serves clients. We are worried about providing good service to clients who want to have their disputes sorted out. The idea is, and it's also an all-inclusive organization, and it's 100% driven by members. We invest a lot in member democracy, which means every member has a say. I'm an elected officer, and so are my colleagues. And the idea behind it is to evolve towards better service and towards providing those services at reasonable cost and make them accessible to people. And access to justice is probably our main point today.
Okay.
Nice. So then I think we're going to switch tack a little bit and ask about something that you have a strong opinion on, and that other people at the symposium we've heard might have a different view. So, Elton, can you tell us a little bit about MedArb?
Oh, yes, I can. Well, first of all, the difference of opinion is a function of diversity, and diversity is great until it happens to you. Every time we talk about MedArb, we have very heated exchanges about it, because some people see problems in the process and some people see solutions. My approach is that 90% of the success of any ADR process is not the MedArb process, is that you match the client's needs of the file with the process that you're applying to it. Then if you screen out your client and your file correctly, you're going to have an excellent result. If you don't, you're not. Then typically MedArb will be applicable to people who have very similar expectations on the timing of the outcome. Right? Mm-hmm. They have a long-standing relationship that's bigger than that. They're interested in a solution. That solution must be given in a certain time, and they want to preserve their relationship by having the opportunity to talk about it, right? Every time you identify that environment, you can then apply MedArb. If you identify people who have completely different interests in when the dispute will be resolved, then that's probably not your best process.
Okay, so there is really a little bit of an outside container that the clients need to agree on for that sort of process to work.
I think it's more the practitioner that needs to look at the file, look at the dispute, and ask him or herself if the process that they master is the best process to address and resolve that dispute.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I would say it's a good service to society. And that I say not for MIDARB, I say for any other practice. Then for MIDARB, I started doing MIDARB because my clients demanded solutions within a certain time and they had a larger relationship to preserve. They wanted to talk about it.
Yeah.
The first rules of MIDARB that I wrote, I didn't know was called MIDARB. I learned about that 6 months later, right? And then, of course, you go and study and you learn. Then I'm guessing the point here is to always be focused in the client, which is actually the whole point of ADR.
Yeah.
The whole point of ADR is not to make it a mini court. It's not to make the dispute resolution process something that's so formal that you build into it so many steps that ultimately the client will not understand what's going on. The whole point of ADR is to have the client participating because that influences their lives, and have the clients agreeing with you, or at least agree with the process and the way the dispute is resolved. If that doesn't happen, then any ADR process is flawed.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us. We really appreciate it,
It
Elton.
is a pleasure.
Thank you very much, Elton.
You're welcome.